yeah. So I heard.
Doggy. Doggy.
Okay, I'm just joking. Welcome to Backwoods Brothers, you guys. We're so glad to have you here. My name is Tony.
And I'm Joel.
Joel.
You know, this is actually episode 11, right?
It's 11?
I was doing something special about episode 10, and I totally didn't realize we hit episode 10 last week.
So people are joining us for episode 11?
Episode 11.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just a live episode. That's not even counting our episodes.
Bro, you would think after episode 11 we would have our merch with us. I mean,
yeah.
seriously.
Well, actually, all the merch that we actually had
Uh-huh.
in our location, I actually sent it all down to represent us to all the mayors. I donated it to the mayor's basket to bring down for the mayor's convention. That's actually on its way down to the beach where they're doing the big mayor's convention at. So
they could promote it?
I sent them down with a bunch of our stuff. So
Bougie.
there'll be people around the state that are going to see what's this Backwoods Brothers thing, cup and everything
Yes.
else. So yeah, we're getting some representation around.
So should I say thanks mayors with a specific mayor or no?
How about us? Well, you can always thank Mayor Drinkwine of Estacada.
Thank you, Mayor Drinkwine of Estacada. You're awesome.
Yep. And so yeah, they're down there doing their thing. So
while we're up here doing our thing, we have some things that we want them to do, right? We want them to share, like, and subscribe.
Share, like, and subscribe. Check out the website. We have a lot of stuff on our Facebook videos, which you can obviously check right here on Facebook. We have stuff on our YouTube you can check out, but also we have our website that has a whole bunch of stuff on it too that they can check out, including additional articles and things.
So check out backwoodsbrothers.com.
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 Yeah.
You know, I went there a couple times this week, and I got the slogan way messed up this last one. Remember that?
Mhm.
But it's supposed to be authentic dialogue with hearty conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's exactly what it's supposed to be.
Actually,
so,
no, it's backwards.
So you look like a duck with that thing. You got to take that thing off. Man.
Okay, but look, before I do that, it's actually authentic dialogue with hearty conversation. And I want to add in the other word, difficult. Because
Okay.
we talk about some difficult subjects here, don't we?
We do talk about some difficult subjects.
Yes.
And it's a good place for us to get our views out on things and try to show that even if we don't agree on something, we're still talking about conversations. And we agree. Well, we agree on a lot of things. We don't always agree on everything.
Right.
So, and
Well-
then we get guests in here too. Sometimes that don't agree with us.
Yeah. Well, what makes it so rich is that we can have conversations amongst best friends. This is my best friend right here,
Yep.
Joel, and he became my best friend because there's lots of things I honor about him. But before we get into all of that sappy stuff, I have a mask on. But I'm trying to Joel, do I take it off? Do I keep it on? Do I take it off? Do I use it as an eye patch? Do I use it as a hat? I don't know what to do with this thing because it just seems like we can't come to a conclusion on do we wear a mask or not.
Well,
Like,
you know,
what's going on?
honestly, I think it's a personal choice, and I think I always said that same thing. It's a personal choice.
Right.
But I read an article this week that talked about how the CDC, this was just posted as of today. So when I say this week, I meant today.
Yeah.
And it says that the CDC, basically, the studies propelling a shift in their mask guidance, they're not even published yet. So they're using unpublished studies to try to direct you. So it's like, hey, we just say it's okay, so you should do this, even though we've been wrong and consistently. And I work for the CDC, but I lie under oath, and I'm not going to say who that is because most people know who that is. But you should believe us. It's okay. We're with the government. We're here to help.
You know, it's a little bit unclear, and I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but it's still a little bit unclear whether it's a mandate or a suggestion. But some are really hesitating. Some states are really hesitating with the wordage of what this actually is. But I just heard today that indoors you are asked to wear a mask, required to wear a mask. I just want to know because, you know, I know, and I'm not being insensitive to people who actually have had COVID. We know that there's some deaths from that, and so our hearts go out to them. At the same time, there's a lot of, I'm not saying but, I'm saying and. At the same time, though, just seems like there's a lot of confusion. People are scared. People don't know what, we've never been through this before. And we've been through it now for 1.5 to 2 years.
I highly disagree with you on that one.
Oh.
We have never been under a tyrannical forcing you to do X in a pandemic, but we have been through pandemics.
We
a
have.
lot.
I mean, yeah.
There's the
SARS,
Spanish flu, the
Spanish flu,
Black Plague.
All but there was a lot of things with the Black Plague, though, too.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things that happen there, and yes, we learn and we try to grow from there. We don't repeat our same mistakes,
Right.
But at the same time, we've had even more deadly stuff that we didn't do these for. Now, granted, like I said, you learn from it. Like, hey, it's maybe not a good idea to be sharing rags and stuff like that in the medical area. Like, you should probably wash your hands and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good to cancel some large events during a pandemic. Yes, fine.
Can I get you back to something, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
You said I disagree with you when you said people are scared. We've never been through this. People are scared, aren't they?
People may be scared, but I disagree with you on the we've never been through this.
Okay.
I agree with you that people are scared.
Yeah, because we never had the government really kind of interject there.
Well, people are scared about a lot of different things, I believe. There's people that are scared about government overreach. There's people that are scared about the actual pandemic. There's people that have lost family and friends. So of course
there's grief.
That's also going to cause you to close up your walls when you have hurt.
Yeah.
And it's going to cause you to close up in that fear there.
Well, we wonder why people are grouchy. They're grouchy because they're going through grief. There's
a lot of stuff people are going through. Yeah. I mean,
as a counselor, I've seen many people with acute stress right now and adjustment disorder.
Well, but the thing is, it's such a large conversation to get into that one.
Yeah.
Is we could talk about COVID, this little thing here, or we could talk about the branches of all the different pieces that come out of it. So let me ask you, what do you want to focus on in this conversation?
I think the branches.
The branches?
The branches. That's what people are living.
Are we talking about the branch? Let's just look at the main trunk branches then.
Okay.
Are we talking about the main trunk branch of, where the tyrannical government piece of it, where there's overreach, or are we talking about the,
tyrannical government would be overreach.
Well,
I mean, that's what
yeah, but
tyrannical
it's
governments
not
do.
it's not just a government overreach though. There's business overreach and employer overreach.
Well, that's mandated by the
And
government,
no,
not necessarily
so
CDC.
businesses make their own choices sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
For like
yeah.
right now, there's no mandate.
Not for Fred Meyers, not for those other big corporations.
They chose to put the signs up, but they didn't enforce it. Well, I can't say that.
Okay.
I didn't have it enforced on me when I walked in there, but I also have a medical reason and paperwork behind it that says I can't wear a mask.
You said paperwork. Did you bring your paperwork and show your paperwork to people? Did you feel
no.
required to do that?
No, I just let them know, but they didn't actually have they didn't actually have the legal option to ask me about it.
Okay.
There's actually protections that people they get passed over and people kind of go, oh, those don't matter because it's a pandemic. These laws are still laws, and the law books just don't go out the window just because something's going on. There's still laws that they followed, and while there's things that can change and some waiving and stuff, you get to read what those waivers are, what those powers are to the governor, and what the laws do, what laws supersede that. And I'm not a lawyer, but I can read.
Right.
So,
you asked a really good question about the branches, tyrannical government. Do you have something there?
There's a whole lot of different branches we can talk about. We can talk about, what was
Overreach.
done properly, what wasn't done properly, what we can talk about the media portion of pushing out the fear. We can talk about the bad numbers. We can
Let's talk about the
bad
media. Let's talk about the media.
Okay. Media, they're all obviously known for perpetuating fear. I think honestly, media overall should never be in a commercial based setting. I think media needs to be a nonprofit at all times, not owned by the government, but it should not be something where it's a for-profit business, because when it's a for-profit business, they're automatically trying to make a profit. Means that they are going to find a story that is going to be sensational to get more viewers. They're going to try to make their customers, which are customers, are advertisers. They're going to do what they can to make them happy. And if their advertisers have a certain desire for something, like they may not agree with X, they may not run that story just because it doesn't agree with X. And there's a lot of
skewed.
Exactly. And so I think whether it be Fox, CBS, CBN, or whatever it could be out there.
At least you didn't say TBN. Okay.
I don't know about TBN. I don't know about news. If they actually have a news on
Trinity Broadcasting.
Yeah, I know
Network.
I know Trinity Broadcasting. I don't know if they actually have an actual news program on there.
I don't know. I think they're 501. So yeah.
Yeah, and they I think they are 501. I don't know.
Okay.
That's it. I don't know about that at that. But I know the other ones aren't 501s. They're actually for-profit businesses.
For-profits. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're actually owned by like Alpha Media, I think, or something like that. And there's a whole bunch of different like larger conglomerates that own these separate channels.
Right.
So, but anyways, so yeah, their job is to try to make their sponsors or their advertisers happy, so they can make money, so they can run everything. So that's the problem. And okay, here it is. I mean, all you can say about Epoch Times. Epoch Times, I love them. They have a great. I think they're well balanced. But even then, in the end, they're there to make a profit, so they're going to do what they can to try to make their advertisers happy to make money in the end.
I hate to sound pessimistic, but is there any real news? Is there anything anymore that is actually real news?
I think
absent of being there with your own eyes, and even then you have perception.
It's a good question. I mean, I think it's news that's verifiable would be real news if you can verify it.
It has to be verified, yeah.
Yeah, I think an actual
and not by skewed sources that feed into the narrative.
Exactly, I think actual verifiable sources. When I say verifiable sources, I mean trustable sources. What kind of sources would you trust?
That's a good question. And honestly, I can't answer that question because in my profession, I read through my profession. Mm-hmm. My profession, people come to me with their stories. Their account of what happened to them. They see through that prism. It's their account. So I always hold it suspect because there's two sides. Mm-hmm. So I have to be objective. Okay. So I live my life being objective. Actually, I've met you being objective. Mm-hmm. So that's actually, that's the way I perceive it. So unless I'm there and see with my own eye, I really hold things like this. So have I found factual news? I've grown up on ABC, NBC. I've grown up on those. I've grown up on, do you remember Contact 3, 2, 1, Contact PBS? PBS. I grew up on PBS.
Yeah, public broadcasting.
Yeah. So I've watched news sources. I know back in the 70s, we actually reported the news a little bit more accurate than we're doing now because of X, Y, and Z factors. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, statistically, you can't say 100%. So how can I look at a news source and say that 100% happened? the
Well,
way it was reported.
of course, unless you were physically on there. I mean, how you going?
And even then, you're going off of perception,
Exactly.
which kind of leads me to other stuff. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, let's talk about perception then. Why don't you give me your take on perception?
perception is someone's reality. I always say that perception is a person's reality. Sometimes it's funny how we vacillate between fact and feeling, and fact and feeling, and fact and feeling. And sometimes we say our feelings are facts.
Well, what's that that saying? And I'm quoting Ben Shapiro.
Uh,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Facts don't care about your feelings. They are standalones. They don't care about your feelings.
Yep.
You can have feelings about the facts,
Yeah.
but you can't manipulate the facts because they wouldn't be facts.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess in that realm, that's how I answer that. That's how I answer that question. Again, I base everything off of the facts that I'm dealt every day.
Okay. So let's
perception.
Let's dive into
Yeah.
so people can better understand your sources.
Okay.
When you're sitting in your office and you're working on maybe diagnosing a client, the sources that you use and for your training and for your understanding, would you say that those are verifiable, solid sources that you can trust?
Yes and no. They've been
Okay.
tested, but what do we call medicine?
Practicing.
A practice.
Okay.
A practice. One size doesn't fit all, and what may work here. I saw a person with a diagnosis that they had 20 years ago didn't fit that diagnosis did not fit the symptoms. So there's misreads everywhere that can
Okay.
happen based on your knowledge of the facts.
So I think you brought a good point too. And this can go into a much deeper area, so I'm not going to try to take it too far into this one, but you said what may have fit 20 years ago may not fit today.
Well, that's why the DSM changes. We use a diagnostic statistical manual. It was the 455 TR, 4 TR as well. So
Okay.
they change.
So
They
with-
morph.
And I said I want to dive into this one, so don't take my rabbit trail much. I just want to make a point
Gotcha.
with this one.
Kind of hot on this one, guys.
Yeah, so I'm saying is, but without that 20 years ago, and without knowledge of it's still in your head that what 20 years ago worked then but doesn't work now. If you erase that knowledge from 20 years ago, would that change your perception on if this was a correct way to diagnose somebody? Or would you say the basis of remembering and having that historical platform to build on helps get to better define and improve the current diagnosis you can get for somebody now?
I am going to project into the fact that I think I know where you're going with this.
I think you do know where I'm going with this.
Yes. You have to start somewhere to baseline.
Yeah.
And I would consider what happened 20 years ago as a diagnosis from 20 years ago a good baseline. So
Okay.
it is important.
Okay.
It is important to have, I call it a marker.
Okay. So but what if we don't like that marker? What if we think that marker sheds a bad light on the person? Should we just erase it? Or should we try to keep it historical so we understand where we're at today?
Well, keep it historical where we're at today. But I'm going to say this: if you're going to relate that over to medicine, I don't change my diagnosis because I don't like it.
I get that. I know you wouldn't.
Yeah,
because that makes sense.
it's based
And
in
it's-
actual
it's-
study
yeah,
and
exactly, and it's based on history, factual history. It happened.
Yeah.
You need to know about that so you can make better choices today, right?
Absolutely, because like you said, some diagnoses have changed over time because they're better equipped they've studied, they know. But it's good to remember where you came from.
Exactly.
And I know where you're going with that, and I hope you take it there.
Yeah, and I don't want to run down that too much, but
Yeah.
I'll make the connection real quick for those who don't know.
Yeah.
I'm talking about tearing down historical statutes and trying to remove stuff from history books. Just because we don't like it doesn't mean that we should remove it, because that's our history, and that's what helped us to get to where we are today to better understand where we're at. Because if we forget about everything that happened with maybe Nazi Germany, maybe the Soviet Union, previous communist China, and current communist China, and also maybe the slave trade we had here, and all of that changes over time, and even what caused the Civil War, which was more actually a monetary thing than it was an actual slave thing. By the way, watch history, you'll see what I'm talking about. all of that's important for us to know because that's got us where today. But if we forget that ever happened, we're bound to start repeating some of those same mistakes that were made that led to that, and we get in this circle. If you don't have the foundation to stand upon, you don't know where your edges are. You don't know where you have to stop and try to continue to build your foundation, working your way up. All you do is you fall off the edge, and then you have to build your way back up again.
Make it personal.
Make it personal?
Yeah. Why is that important to you?
You know, I think this is actually a better question for you.
Well, I'll tell you mine after you tell me yours.
I'll tell you mine after you tell me yours.
I see them tearing. It's personal to me because I see them tearing down statues and stuff, and I see people talking about calling everybody racist because they don't agree with them and stuff when they don't really truly understand what racism is. And when I say that is because
How's that correlate?
how does that correlate? Because I see that as I can take this on a wide roundabout. And I can talk about how I fought for the country and things that are here and all that type of stuff, but I don't really want to go down that road. I'm trying to think of a more. I've been called racist many times. I'm obviously not racist. One of my closest best friends here is obviously black. So if that was true, you and I would probably have troubles. I used to have family that were Hispanic. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you go back to that? We're going to be talking about this soon.
Yeah, let's
And
about the
before
break.
we get there, you and I wouldn't be talking if it weren't for an action that you took to fight for the freedom of speech or the freedom to the ... We wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for the flag. And so, real fast, I'm going to just jump here real fast.
Yeah, go for it.
When I see this, I see the United States of America.
Yeah, that's
I see
exactly
the United States of America. And when the flag represents to me, and I know this is, I don't want to blow up your head, but the flag represents to me you. The flag represents to me my friend Dave. The flag represents my friend Nick. The flag represents, and I can go on and on. The flag represents the people who had gone in my stead. I couldn't go because I'm not equipped to go to fight for what we call the United States.
The flag doesn't represent just those who fought for it.
Yeah. In my opinion,
Yeah.
it's strictly that. But I'm a person of honor too. I'm a huge person of honor.
Yeah, and I get that. And so the flag, and this is my subjective opinion on it.
Yeah.
The flag doesn't mean right-wing conservative. The flag doesn't just mean patriotism. The flag doesn't mean those who fought to build our country and the history that's behind it, even though all those things are built in. That flag is there to represent one people. The one people being the people of the United States.
You fought for Democrats, didn't you?
I fought for Democrats.
Did you
I
fight for liberals?
I fought for liberals. I fought for everybody. Everybody under that flag. Everybody that calls himself an American, that's a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
I fought for.
You've also fought for the Neanderthals, and we can call them Neanderthals who don't respect the American flag.
Even those people that call me racist, even those people that say horrible things to me online in the past about because they don't agree with my political stances or whatever else it might be.
You fought for them.
I fought for everybody. I fought for everybody to have the option and the freedom to make the statements they make, to have the freedom to walk around and not have their house and door kicked in because of political beliefs, and not to be political prisoners because of what they believe, which we'll touch on here shortly. Okay. Not to
political prisoners. I saw that article.
Yeah,
so I can't wait till we go into that.
I want to get to the article here.
But yes,
we'll probably get to that after the break because that's a big.
That's a big one.
The political prisoner.
But keep going. I don't want to get you off.
But
you fought for the political prisoner.
I fought for everybody on there, whether they agree with me or not. I fought for that, and by that, it's the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights. Those rights apply to
which you have in your office.
Every citizen in the United States.
Every citizen.
Citizen.
Yep.
Legal citizen.
Every legal citizen.
That's who those applied to.
Yeah.
And so, I fought for those.
Can I ask you a question?
People.
If the illegal citizen becomes a legal citizen, did you fight for them?
Damn straight. I fought for everybody. So that flag doesn't, and anyone who says otherwise, I think is wrong. I think if you say, this is a patriotic thing only. Yes, it is patriotic. But it also represents historic. It represents unity. and unity of one people.
Yes.
It represents the rights, the Constitution, our government.
The right to even have a flag wave.
Exactly.
That you fought for that too.
Yeah, and well, we're getting into the flag wave since you mentioned flag wave.
I mentioned it, not you.
Yep, I'm just saying, getting into flag waves, I think it's great people want to get out there and be patriotic and or just to express their freedom of speech and freedom of assembly to wave a flag and say, hey, I'm an American, I love my country, and here is the flag to represent that.
I love that display. I would love to say, I'm proud to be American. I sing the Star Spangled Banner and I stand. I sing the Star Spangled Banner with as much heart as I would sing another song. I love America. I do. What I don't like is saying fuck you to anybody that doesn't agree with me, though.
I agree. And so that's what I was going to get to is a flag wave that has the purpose behind it that says, we're going to get out there and we're going to wave this flag to show them leftist Antifa people about patriotism and everything else. I get the fact that you want to stand for that area. And I say, great, you want to stand for patriotism.
Yes.
Don't use my flag as a weapon.
To weaponize the flag.
Don't weaponize that flag.
Is a disrespect to the flag?
It's a disrespect to the flag and what it represents.
Yeah.
I can't agree with someone who says, I'm gonna basically, it's like no different than taking a Bible and beating someone over the head and say, you need Jesus, wham, wham. It's the same thing. You're disrespecting it the same way.
Yeah.
You're misusing it. The flag is there to bring unity.
Yes.
So if you want to have a flag wave, do it in unification. Don't use it to attack somebody with it.
Right.
But that is the wrong way to send a message about what the people are.
Now,
so quick. Let me be.
No, you go ahead.
I am a conservative.
I'm a conservative.
Christian.
Did you say Christian?
Christian. I said Christian. I am a conservative Christian. I love God. I love my country, and I believe, and I'm pro-life. I believe that God needs to be in our country. I believe that the Second Amendment is great, and that we all should have the right to own weapons, and there's a lot to get into that one. I believe in the Constitution, and I believe in our freedoms. I believe in the military. I believe in all those good things. We support that. Less government, better fiscal responsibility, give power to the people and take it away from the government.
Yep.
I believe that a lot of our senators and things like that at the big areas need to be fired, and that we need to bring people in that actually want to do the job. I believe a lot of those things. That's where I stand. So
Brother,
I want to be very clear about that when I say that, and I'm about to do that.
Yep.
Hit me with it.
I stand with you. So though anybody that's saying, because it's so funny how sometimes I'm a conservative, but actually I will tell you this. I'm a conservative. I am a person that doesn't want government overreach. I'm a person that is pro Second Amendment. I am anti-abortion, although I am not going to force my opinion on anybody else that sees it from a different perspective.
I
will
agree.
Respect that. So I want to make that extremely clear. If I don't know something, I've always had the heart, and I've displayed it on Facebook this week, that if I don't know something, come and educate me. I don't want to be argued with, but I want to be educated. So I want to know what the white supremacist thinks. I want to know what the BLMist thinks. I want to know what they think. That's my wheelhouse.
Exactly.
But don't expect me to change my mind. My mind is already made up. And so my mind is made up. But at the same time, as a black American, here's my struggle. I find it hard to be conservative. Because if I'm conservative, by one group that's darker skinned, I'm sold out Uncle Tom. And the definition of an Uncle Tom I can go right into here, but I'm not going to go do that. But it basically says bending to my white suppressors. Okay? But if I am anti, quote unquote, fuck you flag wave, then I am a what? I'm a BLMist. So which one am I?
What I'm noticing there, and you can use your expertise to tell me in this opinion here, but I notice you're basing your value and who you are on other people's opinions.
Well, don't we all? I mean, come on.
I don't really
Who's
care.
not? You didn't come from a place of not really caring. You care.
I do?
Yeah, you care. If you're a human being and not a human doing, you care.
I care.
Unless you are, a sociopath. And then you don't care.
Let me phrase that.
Okay.
I care about the people that are close to me in my life, like my wife, my daughter, my good friends, things like that. What they think about me matters because those are people I care to, and I don't need to invest myself in somebody who doesn't return the same type of care and investment back to me. Meaning that uh, if I don't know you and I don't know that how you care about me, what you say is not going to affect how I think about myself because I don't have that relationship.
Are you interpreting what I said as me caring about what other people think?
What I
Or
was
am I
saying,
asking the legitimate, benign question of which side do you think I land on?
well, that may be if my subjective opinion what you might land,
Yeah.
but I thought you were asking the question in confusion of what would I call myself, and it
Yeah.
sounds like you
As a rhetorical.
Yeah, okay.
As
Because
a rhetorical.
I thought that was maybe based upon
Yeah.
because I kept hearing about well they say this, they say that, and so and plus I want to make a point to people too, is that they shouldn't base themselves and who they are and how they are based upon someone else's subjective view of them. It
Yeah.
should be based upon their own subjective view of who they are.
Yeah, but
And-
but when someone's construct is, and we say it all the time in Rome, do as the Romans do. Who has not heard that term before?
Okay.
You've heard that term before.
Yeah.
We get enculturated when we go to a different culture. When we're integrated in a different culture, is when a missionary goes over to a different culture, they become what we call enculturated. So they change a little bit of their. It's a paradigm shift. They change a little bit of the way they do things to fit into that culture. So there is a societal demand, or a sociological or societal demand that you become enculturated into a specific culture. We put things in categories all the time. We learn how to do that at early ages of 3. We learn how to put things into different categories.
Based
So we
on
just
color,
naturally do
shapes, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, as a matter of fact, that's called concrete sequential.
Mm-hmm.
So we already had that construct to put things into groups.
Yeah, I get that. But
So everybody does that.
yeah, but at the same time, we also
Subliminally on that.
we also have
Subconsciously.
we have the ability though to choose how we construct that, and if we have the ability to choose and change the way we think about certain pieces in our lives.
Yeah.
So just because the basis is construct on a almost Neanderthal level, because that would be a Neanderthal type level when you're really young and you're just learning those basics.
Yeah.
But as you grow and you develop your maturity and you develop who you are and your personality, you have the ability to define and change in how you choose to construct those norms, construct those, we'll call them boxes, how you put things in boxes or those stereotypes. You can choose how you construct those and what you choose to do with them. So like I could choose as I growing up, and I can choose to make the decision. I could say all people of this race are bad no matter what. I could choose to do that. Or I can choose to say, you know what? Everybody's human. Everybody is not based upon, and it is not. Their choices aren't based upon their skin color. Their choices aren't going to be based upon where they're from. Their choices are going to be based upon the character that's inside of them. Because no matter who you are, no matter what society you're in, your character is still the defining factor of who you are.
Yeah.
So therefore, if you have a bad moral character, you're probably going to do bad things. If you have a good upstanding character, then you're probably going to do up things. You know what I mean?
And that's why he's my best friend. I love your views on things. Can I jump back?
Yeah, by all means, please.
Let's jump back because you asked me about what I thought about the statues coming down and being.
We're going okay. Older doctor.
Yeah, let's go back to that because I don't think I ever answered that, did I? Okay, I don't think I answered.
And I do want to let you know we got to go to break in a couple minutes. So.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up with this.
Yeah.
I had a chance at the age of 14 to go to West Germany. I went to Heidelberg, West Germany. I stayed there. My cousin was stationed in the military over there. So I stayed there for 2 months. Heidelberg, West Germany. I visit Austria. I visit Liechtenstein. And I love the culture. I love the buildings. I love the castles. To see a castle come down for whatever reason would really be disappointing to me because I want my kids to go and attach the stories that they've read to the castle that they're in. So my thing is, I want my kid to visit a monument or to visit some historical site, a plantation or whatever, to see maybe what her ancestors or distant ancestors twice removed, or maybe not related at all, had to walk through, to gain a better appreciation for the freedoms that we have today. She has no template if we tear that down. I want her to understand what it was then so that she can carry that over to what it was now. We do that in our parenting. We have archetypes in our parenting.
Yep.
And we want to pass some of those archetypes to our kids.
Yeah, to help them make good decisions.
Why do we keep souvenirs?
Well, because it shows about our historical where we've been.
Yeah, my wife, she carries this old little tired little picture. Sorry, honey. But it always ends up in our home because that's where my daughter can see her grandfather, her white grandfather, by the way, because I have a mixed family. And it's very important for, speaking of that, with my mixed daughter, I'm very, very wanting her to know her white heritage as well as her black. She has the best of both worlds, damn it. That's my thing.
Yeah, I think it's a great position to come from. So
Yeah.
But I'd like to definitely pick this up after the break.
All right.
But we are at our limit for the break here. So on our break, we actually have some commercials and some video of your Backwoods minutes on there.
Ah.
So yeah,
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I just released it actually today.
Yeah.
So this morning. So
With your other
but hey,
5,000
while
things.
we're taking it's about a 5-minute break. While we're taking a 5-minute break, please take a minute to like, subscribe, share this out to your friends. Make a comment. Please put something on there. And we'd love to be able to, if you see a comment on there, that's great. We'll probably talk about it here. But yeah, it's a good thing it was a live show. So we'll see you back in about 5 minutes.
Hi, this is Tony from Backwoods Brothers, and I'm here to share a moment with you. A philosophy from John Maxwell that says, everything rises and falls on leadership. I'm going to start by actually telling you the meaning behind everything rises and falls on leadership. The philosophy is that a company is only as great as its leader, creating what we call a bottleneck or a leadership lid. You've heard the philosophy that you're only as good as your leader. Well, maybe that's not true. What about staffing to your weaknesses as a leader and allowing the leadership to grow beyond the leader? Maybe if you think about as a leader this philosophy, and if you adopt it, if you're an insecure leader, you're not going to allow for the leadership under you to flourish. This leadership lid idea, if you're an insecure leader, could lead to a lot of burnout, if I haven't said that already. It can also lead to disgruntled employees under you, because you're looking out for number one. And remember, there's no I in team. What if the leader says this? A leader is best when people barely know that he exists. When his work is done, his aim is fulfilled, and the people who follow him says, we did this ourselves. Think about this, leader. How would you like it if your team says this? This is a company that I love to work with because my employer thinks that I make a difference. And not only does he think that, but he proves it by his actions. Thank you for this moment.
Far beyond the reaches of the city lights, in the edge of the concrete jungle, where kith and kin meet rum and gin. There, a fairer type of life can thrive. Many men may search their entire lives, never to find one, but here, in their natural habitat, exists the home of the Backwoods wives.
Hi, this is Tony from Backwoods Brothers, and I'm here to share a moment with you. A philosophy from John Maxwell that says, everything rises and falls on leadership. I'm going to start by actually telling you the meaning behind everything rises and falls on leadership. The philosophy is that a company is only as great as its leader, creating what we call a bottleneck or a leadership lid. You've heard the philosophy that you're only as good as your leader. Well, maybe that's not true. What about staffing to your weaknesses as a leader and allowing the leadership to grow beyond the leader? Maybe if you think about as a leader this philosophy, and if you adopt it, if you're an insecure leader, you're not going to allow for the leadership under you to flourish. This leadership lid idea, if you're an insecure leader, could lead to a lot of burnout, if I haven't said that already. It can also lead to disgruntled employees under you, because you're looking out for number one. And remember, there's no I in team. What if the leader says this? A leader is best when people barely know that he exists. When his work is done, his aim is fulfilled, and the people who follow him says, we did this ourselves. Think about this, leader. How would you like it if your team says this? This is a company that I love to work with because my employer thinks that I make a difference. And not only does he think that, but he proves it by his actions. Thank you for this moment. Hi, this is Tony from Backwoods Brothers, and I'm here to share a moment with you.
Oh, gotta have fun a little bit.
Yes.
So we are back from break here, but I wanted to bring us right back into a hot topic article that I read this week, and it's actually what our show's
Before you get into it,
yeah,
hot topic, right?
hot topic.
So if it gets a little hot up in here, which it already is that
It's
okay?
Like, it's like 90 degrees in here.
Yeah, we're brothers, right?
Yeah. So if I start stripping and
Yeah.
you know,
Well, we're brothers and we know it. Okay, just go ahead.
we ain't the Brokeback Brothers.
We're not the Brokeback. Oh, we can't go there.
I did went there.
He did. Damn it. Go.
Perfect.
Go for it.
We ain't cowboys, man. I told you.
Cowboys! I'm a cowboy.
We're going,
Want
man.
it.
Horse I ride.
Sing it. And I want it.
Yeah, we don't want to chase off.
Dead or alive.
Okay.
Come on. Okay. Okay. Just a second. Go. Sorry. I had to break out in song.
I
there.
apologize. My apologies if your hearing is permanently damaged.
Hey, guess what, guys? My CD's coming out next week.
Yeah, right.
Buy it. Woo. Bam. Okay.
Okay.
It's gonna be George. It's gonna have George.
I'm gonna read the title. Leftist protesters interrupt GOP lawmakers inquiring into the treatment of January 6th prisoners. So, this right here is talking about the big Capitol riot, insurrection mess that happened on January 6th. Okay? But my main thing I want to bring out of here is talking about the treatment of prisoners. Basically, they're holding prisoners. They actually have been accused of multiple witness statements and accounts, according to the article here, amongst other things. I'll get to in a minute. That have actually talked about how they were they've been being beaten, they've been stuck in solitary, coughing. No, so they. Thank you.
There to serve, bro. There to serve.
Anyway, so they've been
Get that article out.
they've been beaten, they've been left in solitary, not allowed to see family and friends, and in some cases denied to lawyers and etc. There's just been basically what you would see in a third world country, political prisoners, what you see in China. So that's what's been on there. Now, I'm not just getting this from this article. I've actually had first-hand testimony from somebody that was arrested in January 6th.
What?
And
First-hand account?
First-hand
You
account.
know somebody.
I know somebody. I don't know them personally, but they gave. I was at a meeting over in
Oh, got you.
Multnomah County.
Got you.
A while back.
Do you want to give too much?
I'm not saying what where,
Gotcha.
but a lady. I'm going to keep the
Gotcha.
name out of there.
Yeah.
Some people may know who it is. She was over for an event and the event here, January 6th, but she was also there for meetings with other stuff. So since she was in town, she went out. She had some meetings she went to for a little while, and she is a conservative. So she went out to her meetings for about an hour and a half, and this is the speech with Trump had already gone on, and they were it was after the speech with Trump. They were all walking down, and she went to her meetings for an hour and a half, and the group had gone to the Capitol. So she got done with her meetings, went back to her hotel. So and saw what was going on TV, and she was curious to see what was happening a little better. So she got changed and went down, and she was standing blocks and blocks and blocks away, like a long ways away from the Capitol, but you could still see the Capitol, and the people were everywhere and stuff. And she was just standing there with another group of, with another big group of people that happened to be standing there watching what was going on. And her account is from this one that suddenly there was a group of law enforcement that surrounded her and a big group of people in a big circle. And she was dressed out in like Trump gear and stuff. And she made the statement that she was actually held there with her other group. I think it was her mom was there, and a bunch of group of people she didn't know. And people that were dressed in like some of the stuff you'd see like in down in the right gear, stuff like that. They weren't law enforcement, but they were down there to cause it. They were allowed to leave, but she wasn't allowed to leave. And this was before the I think it was a 6 p.m. curfew at the time. So she was out before curfew, currently legal, but she wasn't allowed to leave based upon what was going on. Then, but some of the other people were allowed to. She was watching this happen, and so this is her account. And then after 6 p.m. had passed, suddenly they chose to, they arrested the group that they had been holding there since before 6 p.m. They arrested them for being out past curfew. And they dragged them off. They put them on a big paddy wagon or whatever that's called, and they took them down to the jail. While she was in jail, there was an additional charge that was added on later after a little bit, saying that she was charged with trespassing onto the Capitol property, but she'd never entered the Capitol property. She was held there. She wasn't allowed to call her lawyers or anything else or anyone for a while. She was basically held for, I don't know, it was a couple of days, I think, or something like that. And they finally released her and her mom to go. and she had to go when she had given the story. She was a few days away from going to her court case. I haven't heard how it's turned out since then. I need to look that up and maybe reach out to her and find out what's going on, what they've done with the court case. But she said while she was in that jail, she saw some of the things that were made claims here. She saw some of those happening. I heard about that before this article ever came out. That she gave testimony to probably about 50, 75 people were at that meeting about these same things that she saw happening in the few days that she was there. People being held in solitary confinement, things. And since that day, she has other people she knows. She's heard continual stories up until she gives that testimony. She heard other stuff between that when she was down there and released and what she saw and what had happened. I think she made another trip back to Washington for that or something. So she was kind of giving us those details. And so when I saw this, I was a little skeptical at first. Thought maybe she was embellishing or something like that. And then I saw the article. So I highly believe what's being said here is actually true because I heard these things before it was ever in the news. We're talking a month or a month and a half ago, maybe even 2 months. I forget exactly what the date was. But yeah, it's so yeah. I'm believing of what I've seen here based upon a first-hand account of somebody. Now I want to hear your thoughts.
I have a million of them. Of course, I am not okay with any mistreatment of a human being. Again, I love humanity, and I think we should be treated with dignity, even if we've done wrong. With that being said, I'm conflicted. And my conflict comes into play. We have a shirt that we have out called the Crying Brigade. But I don't use that here because that would not be appropriate. Okay. It's actually making light of mistreating a human being, and that's not what my wheelhouse is. I don't believe in that. With that being said, I have to ask the question: does the punishment fit the crime? You somehow are associated with entering into a government building to interrupt a process, a democratic process, whether you believe it or not, a democratic process, at an event that threatens the vice president with a noose. Making your way through the halls of government. And I've been there. I'm a Washingtonian. I lived in Washington, D.C. for all my life. I was born there. So I've been to the Capitol, and some areas that they went, then there's some theories out, but some areas that they were able to access are normally not accessible. And we've heard, why didn't they know this was going to happen? They got intel. Who didn't get intel? Were there some cops that actually opened the gates and let the flood come in? And, I was talking to you last night about this, and I have more questions than answers. But I have to have the questions. Another question I have is, how do you act how does a police officer act when you have an angry mob coming towards you when that doesn't happen every day at the Capitol grounds? There's such thing as shock. Shock will make you do some pretty crazy things, like open the door to an assailant or an aggressor. So it's nuanced. The story is so nuanced that I have to say, I have to go back to does the punishment fit the crime? I liken it kind of to what do we think should happen to the guys, and I'm conflating two things, and I know I'm going to get some pushback. But what do we say about the attack on the at 9/11 when we had casualties like this? Not as many, but there's some casualties that happen with police officers, and I have 4 accounts of police officers who we heard this week who've had one was crushed against the door, yelling for his life. One was tasered. Another was, this is I thought we were supposed to back the blue. Yeah. And this was not backing the blue. It was backing the blue up against the wall, but it wasn't backing the blue. So I was wondering, are we being fair, and does the punishment fit the crime? Is my question. Again, I don't believe in, traumatizing any further people for what they did. But I know a guy, not no one, but did you hear about the guy whose mom asked if he can actually get out or have a special type of dinner in jail? I mean, are we supposed to open up the floodgates and have catered meals to them? Are we supposed to throw them a party? What are we supposed to do? I just have more questions than answers.
Okay, and I got one thought-provoking piece for you.
Okay.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
You're talking about
all
punishment.
the time.
You're talking about punishment.
All the time.
These guys haven't even had a trial. They're not in jail because they've been found and convicted and guilty and stuff. They've been arrested and been held there since. That's the ones we're talking about here in this article.
On a suspected crime, that doesn't happen in America, does it?
According to this, and according to what the eyewitness statement says, yeah, it does happen. It's not supposed to. It's actually illegal, but it's happening according to this one. According to the article, and according to the first-hand account that we was given during that meeting.
They have no probable cause.
They may have probable cause to arrest them, but
to hold them.
To hold them.
I mean, definitely not to abuse them.
If they're charged and everything else, then you have to wait for the trial, and then if they go through the trial and be found guilty before you talk about punishment.
Well, what charges are on? I saw them on Facebook, and they were out in front of the monument, and we put them right there in front of the Capitol. Well, if you're in front of the monument on the mall, you're going to be in front of the Capitol, but you're way far away. They're two opposite ends. So how did they get?
What I'm saying is, even if there's a video, because you got to be equal, unbiased, and fair.
Absolutely.
So, even if there's a video with the person sitting with their face and everything else sitting in like a chair up on the things, and okay, that's obviously they're going to get found guilty, but they're not found guilty yet.
There were some guys taking selfies.
Yeah, what I'm saying is.
So.
What I'm saying is, just like anyone else in this country wouldn't want to be charged with a crime and be punished before they actually are tried in a court, we should be offering the same thing. Okay. Now, granted, if they're found guilty, give them their punishment that fits the crime.
Okay, so can I read you a couple of police officer accounts?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a fan of the police officers, and I know you are a fan of police officers. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I met you through a Back the Blue.
Yep.
So if you don't get any more for and present to police officers than that, I don't know what. But I have to read these because it's a police officer.
Okay.
So the Capitol police officer, and I cannot pronounce his name, so I'm going to spell it out for you, his last name, G-O-N, Gonell, Gonell, told House investigators he could feel himself losing oxygen as he was crushed by rioters, supporters of the President Trump, as he was defending the Capitol during the January 6th insurrection. And we did see that. We did see that with our own eyes. You saw him against the door, and he was, and I couldn't even watch it halfway because the guy was being crushed.
I know you read the article, but you said being crushed against the door by President Trump supporters.
Yeah, I know. And so, guys, that was really good that you caught that. Did you see my hesitation?
Yes,
because it's already assumptions.
They've already proven that there was Antifa supporters and BLM and stuff was there.
That is not the argument.
No, so I'm just saying. I just wanted to make sure that
was
specified.
But that's very true. That's very true, brother. But the argument I'm trying to make is this happened, so someone needs to be held accountable. And we saw that with our own eyes. Metropolitan Police Officer Michael, I'll just say his first name, who rushed to the scene, told the House committee investigating the attack that he was, quote, grabbed, beaten, tased, all the while they called him a traitor to his country, and doctors later told him that he had a heart attack. I guess you would if people were coming after you. Daniel Hodges, another police officer, also said that he remembers foaming at the mouth as rioters crushed him between two doors. I guess there was two of the crushings, and bashed him in the head with his own weapon, injuring his skull. And he quotes, I did only the thing I could do was to scream for help, Hodges said. And one more. A Capitol police officer, Harry, said one group of rioters, perhaps 20 people, screamed the N-word at him as he was trying to keep them from breaching the House chamber. And so that's the 4 accounts that were actually brought up yesterday. So I'm looking at these officers, no matter what color they are, no matter what background they are, and I'm looking at these officers, I'm saying these are officers sworn in to protect. And I can't, honestly, I hesitate by saying Trump supporters because it would be complete satire to beat up a cop. If we as a Trump supporter or as a Republican would believe that that's okay. So, but at the same time, they were hurt. So when I'm looking at that, if you hurt a police officer, I'm not saying these people, I don't know these people who were thrown into prison and treated so unjustly, or inhumane, I should say. My hearts go out to that, but also my heart goes out to the victims of the true crime.
Yes, and I agree that those people that committed that crime need to be punished fully according to the law. They need to receive those full punishments and need to be arrested, put in jail, whatever that might be. But my argument is not about that. My argument comes to the fact is that people are getting punished and they haven't even been convicted or gone through a trial yet.
Right. Innocent until proven guilty.
Innocent until proven guilty, like anybody else has the right to do.
Yeah.
No matter what color skin they are, no matter what their mental capacity is, no matter where they're from. Even if they're a foreign citizen, we still have that right for foreign citizens to be innocent until proven guilty. Now, can you be held over for pretrial confinement? Yeah, if you're considered a flight risk or a risk to the danger to yourself or others, you can be held over for pretrial confinement. But that also needs to be done through an arraignment to decide that, whether you might set your bail and so on. And if you're not, they can set your bail or release on your own recognizance if they so choose. That's up to the judge. But these aren't things that are happening. We're acting more like a dictatorship where they're just holding people over for political prisoners versus actually following the law that we have. And
Are you surprised about that? Surprise, right?
You know, these days, not so surprised.
Not so surprised.
Even a couple years ago, I would say, I would have been like, what the heck is going on?
Yes.
But these days, you never heard about that stuff happening during Trump.
No.
They talked about, these foreign citizens are being held in camps before they're deported.
Yeah.
Or all these guys are being hunted down and deported.
Right.
But those are people that are not, they're illegal aliens. They're not legal citizens. And so, yes, they should be deported.
But they should be treated inhumane, isn't what
Exactly.
you're saying? No.
They should be treated humanely.
Yeah.
And they should be put on a bus or put on a plane or whatever it is, how they move them, I don't know.
Yeah.
Send them down to the border and then have them go home. When it comes down to crimes being committed, such as like where you have to, we'll go with the simple crime. Someone steals something, they get arrested, they get arraigned, they get released on bail, usually in most cases, unless there was like a violent crime or something, and then they go on their way for the trial. When in this case, they were arrested and detained. In some cases, I heard they haven't even been arraigned yet. So that means they haven't even gone to find out if they even get bail. They're just being held in solitary confinement, in which they have no contact with other prisoners, no contact with other people. And so I've heard that some aren't even getting contact with their lawyers. But I don't know if that's how true that is. That wasn't reported in the article, if that one wasn't. But that was the statement that was made during the at the time, which, like I said, a month ago, was at the time she was working to get those. I think she was working to get lawyers and try to work with helping those people over there while she was waiting for her own trial. So
how did that impact you? That story, though.
I was obviously very upset because that is not how you treat people in our country. We have a constitution and protections, and our constitution is there, and we should have the confidence and the security to be able to trust that our constitution and our rights as citizens should be upheld by the people that are there in charge with upholding them.
Yes, checks and balances.
Exactly.
Our country was founded on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is.
If we get away from that, we're a dictatorship.
Exactly. Yeah. And it seems like more and more, as you see stuff like this come out, that you're getting further and further from that. So
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And the question is, and I'm asking a rhetorical question because I know your answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. would the same attitude towards these prisoners, would it be the same if they were darker skinned? Because BLM is basically saying Black Lives Matter. Of course, they have a skewed view of how things should be, and they have. I'm not a Black Lives Matter person ever. I think they're opportunists, and it's founded on some very shady shit. So they don't speak for me. But the argument is, if they had brown skin, the white marble steps would be running red.
So I disagree with that, because there was a lot of black people in that, by the way, in that crowd.
You would think they would tell that story. Let them say it was all white people.
Yeah,
and I saw some black people too.
But
it doesn't fit the narrative, does it?
There's a lot of black people in that out there.
Yes.
But but let me ask you this one again. It's kind of, I know your answer. It's kind of a rhetorical question, but is it anywhere in the Constitution that says these rights apply to people if you're white? So it does not. This is created equal for all people unless you're black, Hispanic, Chinese.
There's another argument by the BLM that says that argument would be a moot point because I'm 3/4 of a man, because I'm black.
It doesn't say that anywhere in the Constitution.
No, it doesn't say it in the Constitution.
It doesn't actually say it in any of our legal documents that are out there anymore.
That's not their argument. That's not their argument. But
they're talking about basically Jim Crow laws.
Yes,
that they're no longer in effect.
Yes, but critical race theory wants to bring that back and make it true.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing is,
well, that's a whole nother show.
Well, that's why I'm saying. You know what? I'm upset because alcohol's illegal all across the U.S. and I had to hide it in my thing because because it's prohibition right now. You're gonna look at me and go, they ain't prohibition.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Prohibition was outlawed and not outlawed, but basically stopped, and everything was legalized again for alcohol.
I just wanted to throw that in there.
Just like Jim Crow is no longer existent. So
exactly.
Shut up about it.
Yes, that's why when we talk about critical race theory, I'll get on that. I'm just giving you a little prelude about the BS that's happening there.
Well,
but can I go back to your question because it was legit?
Yes, but we are getting close to time too. When you get after that, I want to take a couple questions from some people too.
Oh, some people coming? People asking questions?
Yeah, but go ahead and finish up your
thoughts. You know what? Forget my statement.
No, go for it.
I forfeit because you're answering us. Go.
This was actually asked. Did you want to say it or?
Okay, fine. You did ask me. You asked me about the Oh, you asked me about. Refresh my memory.
I asked you about the Constitution.
Constitution.
Yeah.
So yes. So rephrase your question again. I'm sorry.
Does it say anywhere in the Constitution it's only for a certain set of people?
Absolutely not.
Of course.
Okay.
So
that was an easy question.
Yeah.
That's me a harder one.
The question that was brought up earlier, it says, do you think all statutes should be left up? What about those that glorify a person who was responsible for murder, rape, kidnapping, slavery, and such? Do they deserve to be the honor of a statue? Now, I'd like to hear what you have to say, but I want to give you my opinion on it, too.
Okay, and I'm going to actually say go first.
All right.
I deferred to you on purpose.
Yes, I believe that all statues should be left up because a statue is not always something to glorify somebody, but rather to bring a reminder at times, too.
Actually, yes. The problem is in the question. The question is a great question, but the glorified word tripped me up.
Yeah,
because it's a remembrance.
Exactly.
We're not glorifying the Vietnam Memorial. It's a remembrance. We're not glorifying 9/11. It was a remembrance. We're not glorifying the Arizona in Hawaii. It's a remembrance.
Exactly. So, we're not saying, the attack on there was great, or the attack on 9/11 is great, and glory to those guys that did it. No, it's hey, remember the people died. Don't forget what happened, so that we don't let that happen again.
Absolutely.
So if someone has a statue to them that was, responsible for rape, murder, kidnapping, slavery, and such, use that statue as an opportunity to teach about what you want to teach your kids about or the people around you. Use it as a remembrance to say, we don't want to do that again. Don't tear it down because if it's tear down, it's forgotten. Forgotten is repeating. Yeah. Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. And that is a saying that's been around forever. And we remember it because it's true. And it gets repeated because we remember it. We choose to have remembrance of it, not to try to wipe it out of our history like tearing down statues do. Yeah. So, but that was the question there.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This one said, someone said that they would take accountable for allowing to be I'm trying to word it. It's worded funny. So they would take accountable for allowing to being Atifa into our town. Do you think they will take the blame for causing confrontations or put the blame on others? So I think what they're trying to say is if a group of people um, antagonized or did something to bring basically trouble here, such as like Antifa or something like that, do you think they should be held accountable, or do you think they'll try to blame it on others?
Okay.
I think I'm hoping that's how the question was worded, and that's what it was meant to be. So I'm going to leave this one to you.
I'm gonna dissect that question a little bit. I believe that if you incite anything for the sake of inciting something, you should be held accountable. Why make a problem when there's not? But a particular group would also say it's already here. They're just bringing it to the forefront. Well, still, you're responsible because you're exposing them for the sake of exposing them. And I think I know the dynamics of this question. So yes, they should be held responsible. Will they blame someone? I don't know what they would do because I'm not them. I don't know. I would hope they wouldn't blame anyone else and be true to who they say they are and accept responsibility.
I believe that if it can be proven that their actions incited issues, then they should be held accountable. But I believe there needs to be a proper proof behind it.
And I know why you
evidence.
rephrase that, because that could be another, what we call Trump witch hunt. Just because he was there doesn't mean, and
Exactly.
It doesn't make him
there needs to
responsible.
be evidence
Yeah.
that the actions that they took and the things that they
Yeah.
did is what caused
innocent
the
until
problem.
proven guilty.
So,
but it
yeah.
has to be
So if they're out there antagonizing and challenging and causing problems to a group,
Yeah.
and then that causes there to be a riot during maybe an event or something
Well,
like
I
that.
would say I'll even go as far as to say, in retaliation, what we've all faced last year, and I know there's the jury's still out, and I'll just say though there were some antagonizers, I'm sure, that helped the fires along. We don't need any more quote unquote in America fires.
We need to
We
find
just need to stop it.
we need to find ways to unify
Yes.
and not divide.
Yes.
And there's-
Like stop already.
Exactly. Find a way to get that common ground, like they have for so much in the past.
Yeah.
Stop trying to antagonize people and try to find ways to talk about things and find a way. In order to compromise, you both got to give a little bit and find that middle ground somewhere.
That is what
Both sides.
Joel, that is what this show is about.
Mm-hmm.
I've, over the last month, introspected about why we're doing what we're doing. You are different from me. I'm not a monolith of my race. You're not a monolith of your race. You bring color, culture into this conversation like I do. And what we want to model all the time is that you can be best friends in different opinion. And I have this mantra. I would go down to one of these groups face to face and say, what is on your heart? Why are you doing what you're doing? I want to understand the why. I know what you're doing. I want to understand the why behind it. And that takes a little bit of higher level of communication to go down there to go and do that, to cross the aisle. That's what I did with you. You said there were some things said about you because people did not know you. So I wanted to say, who is this guy? So it started with a messenger message, and this guy, you responded, come and find out. So I came and found out because you were invitational. You would have come to me too, but I just happened to come because I'm nosy. Yeah. So I came to find out. I love the person I saw behind the mission, and it hasn't changed. And so you're consistent with who you are, and that makes me respect you more, and that makes you want to have a conversation. But we will not agree on everything.
Exactly. And the point is you said it, to have a conversation. But a conversation is two parts.
It is.
There's give and take. There's back and forth.
Yes.
And it's not shutting out and just yelling at somebody and when they want to talk, you scream louder.
Yeah.
It's not who has the loudest voice wins. It's trying to have a conversation, understand another point of view, have an empathetic approach, and then trying to find where you guys can meet on common ground. And sometimes that common ground is simply agreeing to disagree.
I hate that statement.
And it's sometimes you're just not going to believe the same things, and that's
Right.
okay. It's okay for me not to believe what you're going to believe. It's okay for you not to believe what I'm going to believe.
But is it a deal breaker? You know,
No.
don't major in the minors.
Exactly. They're not. You can't agree on everything. We're different people. We're going to have different opinions. We're going to come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
So we're going to have different views in the
We
world.
bring who we are.
The world would be really boring if we all agreed on stuff.
Right.
It's okay to disagree.
But we learn at an early age how to have conflict.
Exactly. I do want to say this last comment in here. It says, I'm not going to put the name out here that they gave me, but it says, Joel, I'm trying to follow, but I'm not clear on what point you are making. You started out talking about leftists, right? I don't know the context of that particular one, so I want to let you know, whoever asked the question, I want to answer it, but I don't know how to because I don't know the context of what I was talking about at the time in order to string it back around and clarify for you. But I am happy for you to clarify your question in the comments, and I'll try to respond later, or you can reach out to us at backwoodsbrothersllc@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to respond, or you can go to our website, backwoodsbrothers.com, and send us an email, and we'll try to respond to your question on that.
And
Or
that's
maybe
one thing I know about him. If you have a question, he'll answer it.
I'll do my best to answer it.
Okay.
And if for some reason I don't get back to you right away, I get a lot of things on my plate sometimes. If you ask it again next week, we can try to bring it back up for you. So
real fast, guys, and just a piggyback off of that, this is a live show, so sometimes we say things in our live passion that we might need clarification on. So don't hesitate, but also treat us with grace because it's a live show, and sometimes we get that way.
And
so ask the question.
Not even that. It's and the conversation goes back around.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just trail off into a bunny trail because the conversation went that
Squirrel.
way. As a conversation would normally do, we're trying to model a conversation between two people.
Absolutely.
And conversations never specifically always stick on one subject. Now, granted, this is a show. We're trying to get some context a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we also want to model what that conversation could be like and try to get some points out there. So, but yes, I do want to make sure I answer this person's question. So please make sure you let me know the context of it. With that, we are like right at the edge of our thing. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we close out the show?
Do you have a lighter point of news?
A lighter point of news?
Yeah, is there something lighter point that you got or in the news this week? Or
let's see. Give me 1 second.
okay, because let's just end with a laugh.
Okay, so let's...
Something about Ling Ling Sing Sing.
Ling Ling Sing.
Do you know what that is? You know,
No.
those are koala bears? No. Polar bears? No. What's a black and white bear? Panda. They're pandas. That's panda
A
bear.
black and white bear.
It's like they're panda bears in Washington D.C. at the National Zoo. I don't know if they're still there. They're probably dead. Oh, I didn't mean to say that, but they were cute.
Let's see. So here's a news article. It says bull moose removed from Colorado parking garage. I'm kind of curious how it got in the parking garage.
How did it get in the parking garage?
Yeah.
Guys, how did it get in the parking lot? If you see a bull moose anywhere, take a picture first of it and stay away.
So, tiger at Texas sanctuary declared world's oldest by Guinness Book of World Records.
What?
So yeah, I'm just looking at random news articles. You wanted something random, so
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. One of this one. Two-headed sea turtle hatchling found at South Carolina park.
Wow.
I guess they always say two heads are better than one, right?
Two heads are better than one. Speaking of two heads, as we close out, if you have another one, I was going to...
No, go for it.
Speaking of two heads are better than one, thank you for joining our two heads. Have that conversation. And also do this. As you're watching the news in the morning, I got a ding this morning, start watching the news, and I felt my heart rate go up. Make sure to look at something that's going to be life-giving for you. Balance it out. The good news, the bad news, find something stupid, laugh a little. We're glad you're here to laugh with us. And with that...
All my wife has to do is just kind of look up some old videos of me or just kind of look at me, and she usually gets a pretty good laugh at that, right? You know?
You should see him sing I'm Too Sexy for My Shirt. It is
Oh.
something else. Or he falls over his couch and is... Oh, you got to see that one.
Yeah, that is not coming out.
That is not coming out?
That is not coming out. No.
Dude!
That is top secret in the vault.
It's not coming out.
Hey guys, I appreciate you for joining us. Well, we'll definitely want to see you guys at the next show next week at 7 p.m. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share, check out our merchandise, and we'll see you next time.
Have a conversation.
Start a conversation.